Jamie Elliott to win the game for Collingwood. There's the siren. Arms in the air. That has gone through.
Hello and welcome to Little Birdie Sports Show for a Monday First Look. I'm your host, Nikki Sylvester. Joining me today is MG for AFL Round 19 review. We've also got Toprope for the NRL 19 review. First Look was proudly brought to you by Little Birdie TV, topsport.com.au, Punting Form and Manscaped. MG, I'll throw to you first for an action-packed round 19 we had yesterday. What a day in sport.
It was crazy. There's a whole crazy week in sport. We've got so much to unpack today. One of the better week in sports, I would say, both locally and internationally. We had some crazy finishes and everything like that. So looking forward to today's show where we can cover all the topics.
Yeah, I know. Yesterday we were on the chat. We're like, oh my God, how's the finish to this AFL game? And then we flipped it over and we went to NRL and it had the exact same finish. It was insane. Toprope, what did you make of yesterday's game?
As you must say, I was throwing up in my mouth. It was absolutely disgusting. The way the Tigers got stiff there. We'll get into it a bit later on, but absolutely, the NRL has to seriously have a look at themselves. If they're going to have a referee running around like he's a chook with his head cut off when he's supposed to be the voice of reason in the game, allowing a challenge when there was no stoppage of play, and then this clown in the bunker who was the guy who was chosen to referee 3 Origins, coming up with a decision that you could go and survey 1,000 people off the street and there wouldn't be one who would agree with it. So, I'm looking forward to the attempted whitewash today from the NRL.
It's good to see the AFL not only having problems with their umpiring and their bunker going off. Yeah, it's good to see. Bit of pressure on the NRL.
Oh my God. Come on. We've got to even the playing field up here, MG. Talk me through yesterday's game.
Well, the AFL was it was probably one of the better weeks. I think we've gone back to back. So for excitement level, we had kicked off Friday night, obviously with the draw. Very poor standard match. I know just because it's close doesn't mean it's a good game. Skills were deplorable, and the crazy finish, a bit like Toprope's NRL yesterday, was madness for Richmond fans, unfortunately, and a bit like the Essendon Collingwood game yesterday, which we'll unpack it a bit. But it was some of the better games I thought for the year as well. The Cats and Port game was unbelievable, and also the Bulldogs Melbourne, which we'll go through a bit briefer later. But the AFL, one of its better weeks. We saw possibly the goal of the year by Dacos, a couple of marks of the year in the same game, in the Carlton game with Sard and Toby Green. So an unbelievable finishes and a draw. So about as good as it gets for the AFL.
And they had some decent crowds too. I thought we're getting back there.
Yes, in Collingwood. Well, they always get a big crowd, so obviously beautiful sunny day again in Melbourne during July, something Toprope's not familiar with around the New South Wales area. But, sunshine came out and I think it was 85, 90,000 there yesterday.
Huge crowd.
The atmosphere was crazy, and obviously with the finish, that's as good as sport gets in Australia at the MCG.
Okay, now take me through what's happening in the Tour de France.
Tour de France, after 3 weeks. It's a long cycle around France, not going to lie. What have you got, 21, 22 days. Vingegaard rode into Paris overnight. He picked up the win, 2 3/4 minutes. He beat last year's champ Pogacar, comes second. He was the pre-race favourite. So, big win for the Dane. So they will be celebrating. So, another great event, the Tour de France. Hopefully one day the Little Birdie crew can get over there for a week or so and get around and follow it.
Toprope, what about the darts overnight?
Yeah, we'll get to the darts in a minute. Just a couple of points of order before we get to it. If that's as good as sport comes at the MCG yesterday, then I'll give it away. They were still playing AFL, so let's not get too carried away. And the other thing, the Tour de France is a good event, MG, no doubt about that. But it would be significantly better if they didn't just have these stages. They just had to follow a trail around France. They've got a tent on their back, and when they're done, they just have a little rest, step their tent up, and then get on their way. None of this stop starting and moving towns. If you're gonna follow a circuit, follow the circuit. Don't like it.
It's an event you can start up, Toprope. Your own tour around the Tour de France. Toprope around the tour.
I like the old days of the tour where they used to run around drinking wine and smoking darts. But anyway, on to the real darts. Yeah, it was a World Match Play, one of the 3 majors in professional darts, the PDC. And we had the final this morning. Michael van Gerwen is back, arguably the greatest darts player of all time. Has gone through a bit of a run of outside in the last 12 to 18 months, but back winning a major, winning slight outsider against Gerwen Price this morning, but got the job done. MVG is back, but maybe the highlight of the tournament was Gerwyn Price's 9 data. Been 6 televised 9 datas this year. Price has nailed 4 of them. Arguably, I think MG would be up there with agreeing with this one. One of the great happenings in sport. It's just a way of the rarity of it, the short period of time that it takes, but also the breaks in between to kind of get a build-up. And the crowd reaction is unbelievable. So, Gerwyn Price, second in the world match play, but has another televised 9 data to his name.
I love his nickname, the Iceman. Nothing could be truer in that the clip. If you haven't seen it on Twitter or anything like that, look it up and Price a 9 data. It was crowd went ballistic.
Can you tell me what a 9 data is?
Down from 501, you get 9 darts to do it. So it's a rare happening, as Toprope alluded to, and for the crowd. And the commentary with it is, one of the best things in sport.
I'm going to watch after the show.
Yeah, you can tow it up. What happened in the French Grand Prix, Nikki? That's your area. What happened? It was action-packed, I hear.
Oh, the Monegasque boy, he crashed out and then he's lost. So that's you'd say that the Drivers' Championship is all but stitched up now. I don't think Verstappen will lose that. So he's 60-something points in front. So, yeah, Verstappen got he started in second and he won. And then Lewis Hamilton finished second and George Russell third, got the podium. Yeah. He's a great driver. So, yeah, first for you've got Red Bull and then obviously the 2 Mercedes boys. So, sadly, Leclerc crashed out and I can't see Verstappen not winning the championship from here.
Yeah, 63-point lead with 10 races to go, and it's his 7th win in the 12 races so far. So
he's too consistent.
Rare for a Grand Prix driver, Leclerc, your boy, to put his hand up and say it was his fault.
Yeah, he did say. He just said it was driver error. Obviously, a lot of pressure, and you could hear him just scream no as he crashed off, and that was it. And then I think just Ferrari had some issues from there, obviously with just some team changes and instructions, and drivers not understanding that. And that's racing.
All right, women's Euro semi-finals are coming up during the week. Just to keep some action for Toprope to bet, we've got a couple of semi-finals to look at for the women's here. England v Sweden. So all 4 favourites advance from the quarterfinals. You can see there $1.79 England, $4.30 Sweden. And in the other match, the next day, it'll be on the Thursday. These games both at 5 a.m., by the way. Germany v France, very close match here. Almost pick 'em. Germany, $2.62 and France, $2.72. So, yeah, the final 4. It's a good lead-in for the big event later this year.
Toprope, I quickly want to throw to you because I just want to have a chat about we had some exciting stuff. So we had Adokar, obviously, with his hat-trick, and then Ponga out for the season as well. And obviously with no more Paffenhausen. So what's going to happen with the rest of the season for the NRL, and where do you think the team chasers are going to sit from here? Because that is just wide open for so many teams now.
The Storm, this is as low a point as I've seen the Storm in 15 years under Bellamy. He doesn't know where to go. And not only that, he's desperately chasing players. They made a request to the Bulldogs to get Josh Adokar back on loan for the rest of the year. That was rejected. They are chasing Warriors outcast Reece Walsh, hoping to land him for the rest of the year. They want Del August 1 to boost the roster, but they can't do anything with this. Obviously, yes, they've been hurt by injuries, but with their bit players that usually do so well, they're just not, and they're not cut out for top grade. You're seeing, players like Marion Seve, Chris Lewis, Tom Eisenhut, just very ordinary footballers. So, and then you kind of got the decline of the Bromwich brothers and a few other things there. So, Storm in some big strife there. They're going to really battle to keep a top 4 spot there. They're already down to 5th, and we're seeing the Broncos really make a move this year. They're kind of trying to position themselves by the second best one. I know I kind of was a bit dismissive when MG put in Souths as the big threat a few weeks ago, but since Latrell Mitchell's come back, they haven't lost a game, and I've been riding high, so he might be right there. And I'm not willing to rule out your Chooks yet either, Nick. I think that they're not going to finish in the top 4, but I think they can make a run from the bottom of the 8.
After yesterday's game, so obviously I did want. I thought if West Tigers had won, then for the Broncos, that would have been good for them because that would have just cemented their position a little bit more. I think the Broncos, if they get a home final, they'll obviously win. I think that would just boost them from there. But then I was having a look at the bottom of the ladder and I thought literally the only teams that you could probably see if they finished 6 or 7 to get past that first round would be the Chooks because they've done it before. They've obviously got a little bit of strength in the team, good leadership, but obviously, South are the big movers. And, if the Storm just keep losing, well, I mean, there's probably a couple of games that they're going to win with a draw, but there'll be a few that they probably won't either. So I reckon they'll finish 7th, possibly 8th.
The Storm, well, let's have a look at their run-in. They've got the Warriors this week. I've got to think that's going to be a pretty comfortable win considering the Warriors broke the record last week for the most blown double-digit leads in the NRL era, which is exciting. Then they've got their home to the Titans. That'll be a win. Away to the Panthers, away to the Broncos, home to the Roosters, away to the Eels. That's a pretty tough month in there, Nick. So,
Isn't it? Isn't it?
You may not be wrong there. So don't turn it around in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, dark days for the Storm. And there's going to be ramifications for that as well going forward because I dare say that, the future of Cameron Munster, how long Craig Bellamy hangs around, all that kind of stuff will be very dependent on, the chances of winning a premiership. And if that perception is gone, it doesn't have to be this year, but if they kind of feel that the team is breaking up and the Storm are in for their first kind of down period in 2 decades, Bellamy's on the verge of leaving. He's not. He's too old for a rebuild. In his own head, he's too old for a rebuild. Munster will just chase the cash, but he's not chasing premierships. So he'll be at the Dolphins. So, it's a big 6 weeks for the Storm.
Let's talk golf. The 3M Open and Tony Finau.
Yeah, top 10 Tony finally got a win. It was a fair turnaround. Scott Piercy led by 5 shots going into a final round and utterly collapsed, whereas Tony Finau, so long derided as a non-winner, broke through for his first continental PGA Tour win. He had won the Puerto Rico last year and then he's gone and won his second tournament here. So, it was a pretty weak field, the 3M Open, but Finau was the favourite, was the best player on the field, came back from the Open Championship and won pretty convincingly. It was 3 or 4 shots in the end. So, it was a very comfortable win for Finau in the 3M Open. We had golf across the globe as well. In the DP World Tour, we had the Kazoo Classic, a very fairly lightweight event, but that was played at the very good Hillside Links. Good to see a bit more golf. And Richie Ramsey won his 4th DP World Tour event there, his first in 7 years, so did well there. A couple of majors. And the women's were the 4th major of the year, the Evian, won by Canadian Brooke Henderson, who at a stage yesterday led by 4 strokes, went into the final round leading by 2. After the first hole, she was dead square. She fell behind, having 4-putted once on the front 9. She fell behind and then somehow came back and parred the last to win one of the most exciting majors of the year of any persuasion. So it was a red hot go, and there were probably heading to the back line. There was probably anywhere between kind of 12 and 15 players who could win nearly quarter made a run. We saw a bunch of women push forward and then just couldn't quite finish it off. But great win for Brooke Henderson. That was her second major. And in the Champions Tour, the Legends Tour, the old fellas, Darren Clark won his first senior major, won the Senior Open in Scotland, and became just the 4th player ever to win an Open Championship and a Senior Open Championship. So well done to Darren Clark.
How old do you have to be to get on the Seniors Tour? Like, some of these people are not actually seniors.
50. So
they're not seniors. That's young. That's not even retirement age.
Well, it's over 50.
I'll tell you what, when you see a lot of these golfers who are between 45 and 49, and they're plodding around the PGA Tour, I'm looking at players like Greg Chalmers and guys who are 0 chance of winning, almost no chance of making a cut. They are hanging out for their 50th birthday just to re-hit their career.
We've got 3 days. We're on the countdown. 3 days for the Commonwealth Games and your Com Games package, the Toprope Birmingham Blinders. Starts on Thursday, $55. You can get that in the Little Birdie Live TV shop. We're on the countdown, people. The Com Games. It's starting. He's got names you don't know. In sports, we don't play. but he's going to pick you all the winners.
Sports play. I'll tell you, I don't know how you spend your Saturday night, Nikki, but I'm going to dare say it's a little more exciting than mine. I was there doing badminton form for the Common Games, and definitely found a ledge there. So that'll probably be the first sheet to go out. We'll heading into the games, we'll probably do a future sheet on Thursday or Friday. But I think we've found one. There's definitely a false favourite there in one of the markets. Just waiting for a few more markets to open. We love you, Tristan, at Top Sport, but if you could just get a few of those markets up, that'd be very handy. So, so very much looking forward to it.
You know exactly how Nikki spends her Saturday nights, Toprope. You follow her social media. It's insanity. That's what it is. She's certainly not studying for the Commonwealth Games, that's for sure.
I'm relying on Toprope. I'm going to pay my $55 and get the package. Let's hit some AFL because we had some really good games on the weekend. All right, let's have a look at the results. Richmond and Fremantle, a draw, 52-all. Hawthorn beat Kangaroos 121-75. Sydney beat Adelaide 118-85. Geelong took care of Port Adelaide 106-94. Brisbane beat the Gold Coast 110-93. The Western Bulldogs beat Melbourne 110-100. Carlton beat GWS 90-54. Collingwood beat Essendon 80-76. And St Kilda beat the West Coast 90-62. MG, over to you. Break it down.
Yeah, no, it was a good week, but geez, a bit like in the NRL, there were some brain fades as well. And kick-off Friday night, unfortunately, the Friday night lights have got a few the last couple of weeks, and Richmond had some major brain fades. I know Freo missed some easy shots during their game, but obviously highlighted at the end of the game, which it always is. Generally, the last mistake in a close game counts for the most. So Richmond having 2 shots on goal, and just crazy. And not sure. I still think they might finish 8th, but it could be really costly if they look back on this 4 weeks from now and say that's why we missed the final. So really disappointing for Richmond. That was a game that got away, and certainly not for the first time this year. I think it's the 5th or 6th time they've led into the last quarter and haven't got the W. So very disappointing for Freo. As good as a loss, really. I don't think it makes any difference with them. They need to win out to make the top 4. So disappointing result for both. Hawthorn won in no one cares game against the Kangaroos, to be fair. Their season's over. Sydney did the job against Adelaide, which was expected. One of the matches of the year so far, Geelong Port. Port, they've really they're playing without luck at the moment. Just in playing really good football without getting any W's on the board, but it shows that Geelong are definitely the team to beat. They went into Adelaide, which is never easy, against a very competitive Port. High standard match, 200 points scored in the game, and Geelong did the job there, and I think they're clearly the side to beat at the moment. Good to see Top Sports have finally got them into favourite. Yep. Brisbane Gold Coast, very entertaining match there. Gold Coast definitely a chance to win. It suited Brisbane being a high-scoring game. Gold Coast would have wanted it a lot less scoring, but they did keep it close. But Brisbane get the job there. Probably the second best match of the round was the Bulldogs Melbourne, the upset. Probably saved the bookies, no doubt. 7.5 favourites won for the week. So this was a big one for the bookies to get out of jail because the punters were rolling at this stage for the Bulldogs to come back and beat Melbourne. Yep. Melbourne have got some chinks in their armour. I know you put a line through them about 4 weeks ago. They've only won 3 of their last 8 games now, so they're starting to get out in the market. They've got some issues up forward, and all of a sudden their defence is starting to leak as well. So, Melbourne might have some issues, and they're a bit friendless in the market at the moment. Bulldogs now move into the 8. Maybe they're timing their run. Ugal Hagen kicked 5 goals in his best game, so it was a really good match to watch. And, I know Ugal will get the kudos for kicking the 5 goals, but their captain stood up. Bontempelli was unbelievable. For those who haven't seen the game or the replay, one of the best quarters of the year for sure. He did everything, the tackles, the smothers, the clearances. He put them on their shoulders and said, we've got to win this game, keep their season alive. So unbelievable leadership there from the Bont. Carlton won easily against GWS. GWS have packed it in for the year. And then your game, Collingwood Essendon at the G, big crowd. I know Toprope hasn't watched the replay yet, but he's looking forward to watching this one. So the difference is between, the Bulldogs with Bontempelli with leadership, and then you go to Essendon, just fail in that area. Both coach, captain, and their on-field leaders. To let this game slip. I know they're not playing for anything, Essendon, because their season's been done for the best part of 2 months, but they are building into next year, and I think Rutten needs a few more W's on the board maybe for his job safe. yeah, the replays and going into the watching the replays in the last minute or so is a disaster for Essendon. Very, very poor. They should never have had that shot on goal. Harrison Jones, I know he's 35 metres out, had a chance to put it away if he kicks it, but they should have just had 2 passes, keep it off, and Collingwood would never have got the ball again. So I don't understand why Essendon's game plan for the good part of the year has been keeping off, going slow, going backwards and sideways, and yet when they got the game in the balance, they don't go to that and they want to, not set up right. So that was a disaster the whole way down, and even when the kick went to Elliott, he had 2-on-1 and both defenders missed the spoil on the boundary line. So there was just crosses all the way through in the last minute, and that would not be a good match review to be in. And the last game, again, no one really cared. St Kilda went over and did the job. It just was a low game against West Coast. I know they think their season's alive, St Kilda. They won't make the finals, and that's it for the round. So, yeah, that was good.
Thanks, MG. I was listening to Marcus Bontempelli during the week, and he is a true leader. Like he said, I understand that it's a team effort. He said, but when I go out there, like I'm going to give it my all. I want to play. I want to show the players how committed I am to the club and the W. And then hopefully that will just transcend through. And it did. Like it's amazing. So are they the only team in modern 10 years to have come from outside the 8 and win the grand final? The year they won the granny?
I think that might be true, yeah.
There you go. Could be second time. Who knows?
Yeah, long way to go. But, that was a masterclass by Bontempelli.
Yeah.
It was impressive to watch.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, and I'm a non-Bulldogs fan. All right, bookie wrap. 7 out of 9 faves, 4 of 9 covers, 5 of 9 over totals and 5 of 9 home teams. And for the season, 70% of faves, 51% of covers, 55% over totals and 61% for the home teams.
Yeah, so we leave the draw out in that. So it was, virtually 7 out of 8. So as we said, Bulldogs were the only upset against Melbourne. There was a close game. The live betting this year has been unbelievable. The amount of changes and come from behinds. Momentum's been very hard to stop in the AFL, and the coaches haven't found the secrets to that. So it'll be interesting the next month going into the finals for those teams, how they go about stopping the roll-ons and with teams with momentum. You saw it yesterday in the Collingwood Essendon game. They kicked 6 goals to nothing Collingwood in the first quarter, and then get behind in the game very quickly in the second quarter. So that was crazy. So big week for punters, and I think bookies were saved by the Bulldogs result.
Thanks, MG. Okay, now we just have a look at the Stings results. All right, so we got 50-50, and like you said, there was a couple of tough beats there.
Yes, lucky I'm sponsored by Grey Goose, or I want to be sponsored by Grey Goose, because Friday night was a disaster. Went out early with this pick. Depending on whether you either saw the show, you're taking notice of our social media and things like that. Freo did get into favourites at one stage, so some punters might have got lucky with the time that they bet, but having 2 cracks at it in the last minute, and neither one got an actual shot on goal. Yeah. One got smothered and one got beaten by the siren. So that was a disaster for us. We won the 2 middle bets there quite comfortably there, although the Geelong kicked a goal late, and then the Brisbane one. Well, I'll tell you what, if you thought Friday night was a bad beat, don't watch the last minute of the Brisbane game. We bet early at the 18.5, it closed 25-26, so we got our chips in well there, beating the line, and they led by 23 points. With 30 seconds to go, Brisbane had the ball. I thought, sweet, going to get a nice result here. Turn the ball over. Rankin for Gold Coast marks on the 50. Siren rings, he goes back and drains it, just misses the post. And it goes from 23 to 17. So fair to say there was a few choice words late Saturday night in the office.
Late Saturday night in the office, a few choice words, maybe some things thrown around, a couple of darts, and lucky a bottle of goose was on hand for MG. God. Can we go to the Premiership market, because you alluded to it before? Geelong are the new favourites, $3.20. The Demons are $3.50. Swans $8. Brisbane $9. Carlton $14. Freo $14. Collingwood $16. Richmond $23. And the Western Bulldogs $23.
Yeah, I think the right favourites definitely now. Yep. I'm not sure necessarily they're great value, but I think they're the team to beat. They'd run home. They'll finish on top now. Depending on any disaster, they get the best player back in their team, Stewart, this week. So they're going strength to strength. I think if you want to back Geelong, they're only probably going to shorten in the next couple of weeks, if anything. Melbourne on the way out, a bit friendless at the moment. Got a big week this coming up. I still alluded to last week, I thought maybe the value might have been around the Sydney. And I still think that they're in the third favourite now. Not discounting Brisbane. I think they've got some problems in the defensive end, but on their day with their midfield and their forward line is as good as any in the comp. Well, it is the best offensive-wise. I think they're the chances, but they'll be the top 4 teams, and I'd be staggered if the winner didn't come from that.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to see how September plays out for you. Okay, now let's have a look at the Coleman. Oh, sorry, the Brownlow first. Brayshaw, 295, Oliver, 4, Lockie Neal, 410, Petrarca, 11, Cripps at 12.
Yeah, not much action. I think Oliver may sneak a vote from the weekend just gone. He come back from his thumb. The only other player is pretty quiet. I think Took Miller was the only one that was probably involved in the votes this week, so not much change there at the top. And only 4 weeks to go, so still open if you think you got the winner.
Oh, I can't wait for Brownlow night. Okay, now, give me the Coleman. All right, Charlie Curnow, $1.90, Cameron, 280, Tom Hawkins, 650, and Max King at 11.
Yeah, Charlie, they all went pretty good, actually. A lot of them kicked 3 and 4 goals for the week. So all these big forwards are in form. Some are kicking more points than goals, which might prove costly. But Curnow with 5-goal lead with 4 rounds to go is going to be tough to beat. But I still think Cameron might run him down with Geelong's good draw. They got 3 of the 4 games at home. Cameron's in form. And Hawkins doesn't hold too much of it. So even though Hawkins is in third, I would be tending towards Cameron at the 280.
Well, I like a bit of a roughie. Cameron at the 280. Well, it's a roughie compared to $1.90.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, MG. Okay, punters, if you need the stings and you love your AFL, you need that in the Little Birdie Live TV shop, and you can get that from $22 a week. Little Birdie Live TV AFL stings, $22 a week. We've got a good month in sport coming up. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with Toprope and NRL. Welcome back to First Look, proudly brought to you by topsport.com.au, family owned and operated for over 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with TopSport. Oh, let's go to Toprope for the NRL.
It was a pretty good weekend of rugby league. We start the run into the finals. The Broncos continued their hot form. They went down to Parramatta and absolutely thumped the Eels 36-14. Eels, fading again at the back end of the season. Yeah, the pressure's mounting on coach Brad Arthur, who was reportedly offered by the clubs last week. Something he and the club both deny, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. The Dragons beat a COVID-hit Manly 20-6 on a Friday night. Not much of that game other than Manly are probably a little bit overeager at the moment. Disaster for the Knights. They went down to the Roosters 42-12, but most tellingly, Callum Ponga now out for the year, suffering his 3rd concussion. Man of the match in Origin 3. It's hard to see them winning a game for the rest of the year, which is great for those on the early GGOA at $15 to the spoon. So we're going to need the Titans and the Tigers to win a couple of games each, but if they can, the Knights are right in the mix for last spot. Raiders beat the Warriors. The Warriors led 14-0. Raiders come back 126-14. The Warriors overtook the Raiders in the process with their 54th double-digit defeat of the NRL era, surpassed the Raiders as the team who's blown the most big leads. So a record they probably didn't want, but kudos to them anyway. They well and truly deserved it after that inept second half. Penrith beat the Sharks 20-10 in a rain-sodden game. Sharks jumped to an early lead there. Penrith just too much class in the end. The Harls probably told them that one. South, big statement win. They've only had 5 wins against the Storm throughout their history. They won 24-12. It was a game that the Storm were not without their chances in, but really lacked a touch and class. And, it looks like it's falling apart. 4 losses in a row for the Melbourne Storm. Never thought I'd say that. Sunday, the weather certainly picked up, and the mighty Bulldogs, 36-26 winners over the Gold Coast Titans, consigns the Titans to equal last on the ladder. Just a point of note, the Bulldogs have now scored 30-plus in 3 of their last 5 games, something they did once in 34 games under that moron Trent Barrett. So all those who drove for a change of coach, well done to you all. And the game of that was the game of the round, but the finish of the round. And they'll be talked about this for years to come. The NRL has a long and sordid history of awful decisions, and this might be up there with one of the absolute worst. It was absolutely horrific. The Cowboys are 25-18 with 4.5 minutes to go. The Tigers, who had led at half time and played pretty well, looked like they were done and dusted, scored 2 surprise tries, led 26-25 with 1 second to play, Whether there should have been a second left on the clock or not is disputed. But anyway, there was a second left. They kick off. No penalty was awarded. The game was over. Somehow the Cowboys were allowed a challenge. And then against the judgment of anyone with an IQ of 6 would have called full time. And that gave the Cowboys a penalty to kick the goal. And now the Tigers are considering legal action to overturn the result. That will not happen, but absolutely screwed. Absolutely screwed. So disaster for the Tigers. And there isn't a rugby league fan outside Townsville today is not feeling sorry for the Tigers.
I would agree with you on that one. Okay, let's have a look at the boogie wrap. 5 of 8 faves won, 3 of 8 covers, 4 of 8 over totals, and 6 of 8 home teams. And for the season, 69% of faves, 50% of covers, 54% over totals, and 61% for the home teams.
Yeah, still in overs territory here. 4 of 8 games went over, but it was a wet weekend in Sydney, and there was some real heavy rain, particularly Saturday. It saw the races get called off. So
it's unusual.
Well, it certainly happened a bit this winter, MG. But it's nice and sunny out here today, and we'll be right. So I'm quite happy about the overs going forward.
Now, you had a great weekend, and unfortunately, that last game did do you over. It's not your fault, okay? No one could have seen that happening. But have a look at that. WWWW. Unbelievable. The GOAT strikes again, people. Talk me through it.
Yeah, running hot. Brisbane were on early there. I still can't believe the line. That one that was wrong, and that never looked like far undercover there. I think we said on the show last week, absolutely declaring the Dragons. Something I don't.
You said biggest bet of the year, and there you go.
Bet of the year, yeah. It was a great spot against a mediocre side while the team was home. I absolutely loved it, and got to a great start of Dragons and led the entire game. So it was I wouldn't say an easy watch, but it was a relatively easy watch. Anytime you watch Georgia and you got any amount of money on them, it's a stressful experience because they are one of the dumbest teams in the NRL, and they certainly played that. But they got the job done, which was good. We had the overs on the other Friday night game, so we got our cash in early. 54 points a total in the Roosters night's game, so that was again another relatively easy watch there. And then we got done on the Cowboys there, but we were never in the mix. So they led 6-0 after 2 minutes. I thought, here we go. I think I told my wife they're going to win by 60, so it shows how good a judge I am. They won by 1, and they shouldn't have won at all. So, but it was a good week. We're in a good stretch of form here, and I do enjoy the running. This is some good angles over these kind of last 6-7 weeks. So. Confident we'll keep it going.
Oh, okay, can't wait. All right, now let's go through Thursday night's game, 7:50 p.m, 4 Pine Park. Manly is taking on the Roosters, $2.20 Manly. Roosters $1.67 and the line's 2.5.
Yeah, I would much prefer to be on the Roosters. I haven't done the work for the game as of yet, but at face value, the Roosters have both got plenty to play for. They're both in that fringe. They're both fighting for that one spot. But we're going to see Joey Manu back for the Roosters. We've got a Roosters team who are immaculately coached, so they always time their run really, really well. I'm still not convinced about Manly. I kind of remain. I think they've got a fair bit to prove. I think this line will kind of get to 4 by game time. So I'll be looking at the Roosters again.
Okay, the chooks there. I can't say I'm unhappy with that. Now, can we have a look at the Premiership market? Penrith, they're just dominating at $1.95. North Queensland 8, Cronulla 8.50, the Storm 9.50, and the Broncos at 13, South 14, Para 16, Roosters 21, and Manly 41.
Yeah, this is pretty boring. Panthers definitely deserve to be favourites. Had the Tigers have won yesterday, this would have given the Panthers a 10-point lead. Top of the Premiership, and would have been the biggest Premiership lead since 1975. So at this stage of the season, so they're kind of in history-making territory of the Panthers. But when I said that, you could mulch them through 3 weeks of the finals, and you're going to get a bigger price than $1.95. So I can't take the $1.95, but I don't know who's there to beat them at the moment with the Storm kind of falling backwards. Maybe South at $14 a bet there, but they're going to have to kind of create a bit of history of their own to make the grand final if they don't run in the top 4, which it doesn't look like they will.
All right, now, punters, he is on fire. You heard him say it. He's red hot. You need the GGOA, and you can get that from $22 a week in the Little Birdie Live TV shop. GGOA, serious about NRL, and you need it, $22 a week. All right, MG, over to you.
Yeah, Nikki, that time of the week where we post our early predictions, we'll just have a quick look at last week's result, week 20 results there. So 2 out of 3, and we'll just put down a BB there in the brackets. I think Mr. Borko, the bad beat there for the Lions, got beaten after the siren. So just keeping the door ajar for Nikki and Nick to run me down here. So I've got a 3-tip lead at the moment, and we've got about 2 months left of footy. So we'll move on to week 21's predictions, our early predictions. We'll go to Nikki first. What are you going to go, AFL or NRL this week?
I'm sticking with the AFL. Oh, no, so I went NRL last week. I'm going AFL this week, and I'm going Sydney Swans minus 28.5.
Okay, for Sids and Kids against GWS there, Nikki has gone Sydney minus 28.5. Top rope, Wayside Chapel. You're starting to find some form back in this competition after being an early leader. What have we got this week?
Trust me, MG, I've been on leaders in a better spot than you and been run down on the horses, so let's not call yourself home just yet. I'm going to be on South this week. I think South is a marginal outside against the Sharks. Look, a bit of value. They haven't lost since the Troy Mitchell's come back. So on the bunny side.
Because I tipped them as an outsider for the Premiership top rope, and I think you might have giggled at me at the time. But anyway, we'll see how that plays out. For myself, what do we got? Love Me, Love You charity. I am going Collingwood against Port Adelaide. I think it's game 2 on the fixture, minus 6.5 this week, Nikki. So there are the 3 plays on your screen.
Thanks, MG and Top Rope. That is a wrap for this edition of First Look. Thanks for joining. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Download our podcast everywhere you get your good podcast from. Remember, all your footy betting action is at topsport.com.au. Remember, you can follow us on socials as well. We are Little Birdie TV, and we're on Twitter and Insta. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll be back next Monday. Have a good week. Bye.